Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I see.
Welcome into the Fanatic Sports Show for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I. You know I got the stat guy with me. What's going on, stat guy?
Going on, Coach? Another great weekend of college football in the books, baby.
Hey, man, it was a very good weekend of college football. You know what I'm saying? We was watching from 12 o'clock all the way. I even caught some of that Stanford Notre Dame game at the wee hours of the morning. So it was a real good day, man. We had some explosive games. We had some games that started out like they was going to be good and then end up not being so good. Your Gamecocks had the weekend off, so it's always nice to be off when everybody else is going through turmoil, right?
Yeah, man, just being able to sit back in the couch and just enjoy some college football, not worrying what time my team was playing, who we were going to struggle with, or if we were getting the W or L. Man, just got to enjoy and soak in college football at its finest.
That's right, man. One of those games that started out really good and then turned into, I ain't going to say it was a blowout, but definitely a game they had in control was Clemson versus Florida State. Clemson versus Florida State actually started out the first two quarters. First half was pretty good except for the last part of the second half where Florida State fumbles and gives Clemson a short field. Clemson scores, then proceeds to come out in the third quarter, got the ball first and scored again. That was pretty much the end of the game as far as Clemson having control of the game the rest of the way. So,
yeah, no, I mean, you can't go Clemson short fields, and I mean that was just double trouble, the fumble, and then returning the opening kickoff to start the third quarter, 65 yards, and then a little trick play with the flea flicker to the tight end, touchdown, and that pretty much was the ball game right there.
Yeah, on the other side, man, Syracuse Orange, man, they played at home against North Carolina State, even though they didn't have Devin Leary. Devin Leary is out for the year, according to what I heard last night during the game. So North Carolina State's going to have to, get used to that. And I know that's a huge blow, but Syracuse, it's not Syracuse's fault. Devin Leary, wasn't able to go, you know what I'm saying? And they handle business as they should.
I was going to say, Syracuse, man, they showed up to play, and they did what they should against the backup, not giving up any touchdowns, and they looked very dominant in that game. That was a good performance for Syracuse against the top 15 team.
That's right, man. So we're in here for the Clemson Tigers versus the Syracuse Orange this coming weekend. The last two unbeatens in the ACC. They're both in the Atlantic. So this is a huge matchup this week. Of course, not a game day type game, but only because UCLA and Oregon are playing this weekend, and they already now College Game Day announced that real fast. So, but it's in Death Valley. Clemson hasn't lost but one game there since 2016, so got to keep that in mind. What are your overall thoughts of Syracuse on the year so far?
And I mean, they've been a good ball club. I think little surprised at where they are, but their schedule hasn't been too difficult. But man, look, end of the day, whoever you line up against, you got to win, and they've done that. They are who they are. They have a very good offense, and their defense is electric, and stopping people. So I'm really excited about this weekend. I think it's going to be a really good game. You got a noon kickoff, which me and you kind of like the away team in noon games, so maybe that plays a factor. And I think Vegas is kind of expecting the same too, with only having Clemson favored by 13. And usually at home, you see Clemson definitely favored by 14 to 20, if not more, against some teams. Even a team like Syracuse, top 15 team, but kind of unproven still.
Yeah, and let's talk about that Syracuse offense against that Clemson defense that's finally healthy since the Georgia Tech game. They've been – listen, man, over the past two seasons, Clemson hasn't been able to stay healthy at all their key positions on defense to put it all together. But this past weekend was probably the healthiest they've been since the Georgia Tech game. Florida State still was able to move the ball, though, because I think their front seven is pretty good. Their secondary is getting better. But, Nate Wiggins has been playing – he played good, this game and the game before that. But in the Wake Forest game, we watched not just Nate Wiggins, but, what is it, Torian Pride and Fred Davis. We watched them all go through some growing pains against that NFL type receiver room that Wake Forest had. But the last 2 weeks they've been kind of coming on. So they're growing. You know what I'm saying? That Syracuse offense, man, coming into the year. We already knew about the running back. What's the running back name?
So you got Sean Tucker in the backfield.
That's
and
him, yeah.
He was definitely talked about and kind of expected to be the workhorse, and he has not let down by any means. But I mean, just as far as the outlook of it, you got Syracuse averaging 36 points a game. Clemson only giving up 19. So there you go, kind of with that. The big question mark of who's going to win the battle is Syracuse runs for about $1.90 a game, and Clemson only gives up 82. So that's going to really be kind of where the game's won or lost for Syracuse, is if they can establish a run and impress their will on Clemson, something that Clemson's usually very good at, which is stopping the run.
Yeah, you got Brian Breezy back, and when you got a good defensive line, that clears the way, that takes up space and allows your linebackers to run free, and that'll allow like the Trent Simpsons, Jeremiah Trotter, and the Barrett Carters to just run free if the Brian Breezes and the Miles Murphys and Tyler Davises can of the world can do what they're supposed to do. But like you said, Sean Tucker has over 600 yards on the year already. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy task to slow him down.
And then, I mean, with that, I mean, Clemson gives up about 255 through the air. Syracuse passes it for about 244. So that's kind of right in with where they're at. But, the quarterback, Schrader for Syracuse, is the second leading rusher on their team. So he's not afraid to tuck it and run as well. And he doesn't turn the ball over with passing. So that could be very big if they can take care of the ball, control the clock, keep Clemson's offense off the field, sustain drives. Even if you're not scoring every drive, make Clemson go 80 or 90 yards.
Yes.
Don't and 40 or 30 yards, because they will score on you in that scenario, especially with their.
Definitely, you can't give them short fields, and you got to make them drive. On the other side, man, you got Clemson's offense versus that Syracuse defense, man. Talk a little bit about that Syracuse defense that a lot of people probably don't know about.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, man. It's like I knew Syracuse defense was good. I didn't realize how good. They have the 6th best scoring defense in the entire country. They have the 8th best total defense in the entire country, going off of yards, and that stuff. So Syracuse defense shows up to play. And I know a lot of people are probably going to jump in and say, look who they played. But look, I know Leary didn't play last week for NC State, but they just held an NC State team that put up 20 on Clemson to 3 field goals, right? They shut them down. NC State was having a hard time driving the ball, just couldn't do anything. And so while Syracuse may not have played a bunch of guys yet, they're doing what you need to do against the subpar teams, and they're just completely locking them down. I mean, these numbers, looking, they're 6-0, and so through 6 games, you're looking at giving up 13 points a game. Only giving up 288 yards of total offense a game, and less than 200 yards passing, less than 100 yards receiving. I mean, it's just those are some numbers, right?
Yeah, and Clemson's what's crazy is over the through their successful run through the playoffs and 2 championships here in the last 6 to 8 years. Clemson's MO has been like really balanced, but known for their wide receivers and their passing, just with a good running back. Now they're kind of more of a run. They're getting it done on the ground more so than in the air. They can pass it now. DJ's getting better, but Will Shipley and DJ and now Phil Maffa as of late looking good on that run defense. It's going to be a task for those linebackers at Syracuse. What's his name? Michael Jones and Marlo Way. Those 2 linebackers who lead Syracuse in tackles, one with like 48 and the other one with like 39 or something like that. So tackles total for the year. It's gonna be tough, man. What you thinking? Like Clemson gonna be able to run on Syracuse? Because something's got to give. Like so if you like Clemson's able to run the ball, but Syracuse not giving up the run.
Right. So, and that's the thing is, we've seen in the past Clemson has gotten away from the run, and we've seen it affect Will Shipley. I mean, we've seen in games where he get fired up because he knows, just keep feeding me, eventually it's going to break. If they can stop the run and force the game into making DJ beat them, I really like Syracuse chances. If Will Shipley continues to do what he's done in recent weeks, man, this could be a blowout or could get ugly. I mean, Syracuse just has to line up and be who they are and play solid foundation defense.
Yeah. So let's get on to the predictions, man. I think, I say it every time I preview a Clemson game, but it still holds true. They've only lost one game at home since 2016. It's hard to beat Clemson in Death Valley. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a ruckus crowd. Both of these teams are undefeated. This is for, control of the ACC Atlantic. And we're going to be able to see how Syracuse, travels as far as their offense is concerned. Now, the good thing is Syracuse is able to run the ball. And when you're going into a hostile environment, that's a good tool to have. You know what I'm saying? If you can run the ball and control the clock. I think one of the keys here is how Syracuse handles that environment. That crowd is going to be super loud. And if they can, Syracuse, when's the last time Syracuse was 6-0? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I tell you about 1987. So, I always talk about like the ups and down roller coasters of being good. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point you're going to go down the hill on that emotional roller coaster. And I'm not saying that's going to be this case this weekend, but can they handle it? What's the spread on this game?
So the spread on this game is Clemson is favored by 13, and the over/under on the game is 51.5.
Favored by 13, huh? I am going to take Clemson to win, Clemson to cover. I'm calling Syracuse will cover, but Clemson to win. I'm going to say Clemson 31-21.
You're taking Clemson 31-21. Syracuse has never beaten Clemson in Death Valley. They have beaten Clemson in recent years, but they caught them on a random Friday night at the Dome, and stuff like that back when the ACC used to love doing weird things. So Syracuse has never won there. My key to this game is going to be Sean Tucker. Can he have a 100-yard game? I think if he runs for over 100 yards, that the Syracuse defense is going to travel and show up. I'm not saying that we're going to turn back the clock back to 1996 in the Gator Bowl, when Syracuse whooped up on Clemson 41-0. But I am going to take the Orange to win this game. I'm going to go with the under, and I'm going to take Syracuse to win 24-20. I think their defense is legit. I think their defense hasn't been talked about enough, and I think they are going to be able to establish a run and keep that Clemson offense, which can definitely be potent at times, off the field. So Syracuse 24-20, go Orange.
There it is. You got Clemson, got some receivers emerging. If they can be balanced, it might be trouble for Syracuse. All right, Clemson and Syracuse fans, get in the comments, man. Let us know what you think. Give us a score prediction and what you think the key of the game will be. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. For the Stat Guy, this is Coach Shad, Fan Addict. We out.
Got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the fan at it, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?